we're listening for is that squeaking sound that we heard in the beginning of the video. So I'll let you go ahead, hear that right now. So now that you've heard that, you can compare it to what you're about to hear. So we've got an issue with the Lightning that I think is going to relate to pretty much any car, pretty much with any idler pulley. So first off, let's go ahead, start the truck up, and I'll let you hear the issue. I'm sure most all of you can hear that squeak, right? That squeak is a dry bearing, a bearing trying to go out. Doesn't sound good. You can actually hear the bearings in there. So, something a lot of people do for a quick fix is WD-40. Trust me guys, you don't want to do that. I'm going to do it tonight to show you guys what the problem is, but outside of that, you cannot do this, guys. After we do this, I'll tell you why. So as you can hear, that did quieten it down. Now we still have a squeak. So let's talk about why you don't use WD-40 on your pulleys like this. Basically, this will fix the problem temporarily. You can spray this on, it'll get up inside the bearing and it'll stop any noise that you're having for the most part. But what it's doing is it's washing out all of the grease that's packed into that bearing. WD-40 is kind of like gas, or kind of like a cleaner in a sense. Like a lot of times we use this to remove the burnt rubber from the side of our car after we go to the track or something like that. This stuff will cut it. So believe it or not, yes, it is a lubricant, but a short-term lubricant, not long-term at all. Meaning I can spray this pulley tonight and by tomorrow night, it'll already be dry again. So guys, don't, as tempting as it is, don't spray it with WD-40 unless you're trying to find the problem and you're going to immediately be able to fix it. So once your bearings and your pulleys start to go dry, basically what's going to happen is you're going to build up a lot of excessive heat. That heat will cause these bearings in here to explode. I've actually had this happen to me on my 03 Cobra that I had. So you definitely, if you've got a squeak and you've got an issue like that going on, you by all means want to get this addressed as soon as possible. So anyway guys, you've heard what not to do, you know what to look for. Now let's go ahead, pop this pulley off down here that's giving us a fit and see if we can fix it. Okay, so we got the pulley off the truck. I just threw it in the parts washer real quick like. That's also a bad thing to do because that will also take the grease out of it. But I want you guys to listen to something here. Listen to this pulley. You can tell when these pulleys are starting to go bad. They're kind of crunchy. They just make a weird sound. So what we're going to do now is attempt to get this rubber outside cap off. If we can get that off, then we'll be able to repack these bearings and we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now, guys, you want to be careful with this because you can bend these up. But here's the inside of your bearing. And as you can see, honestly, it's just filthy and disgusting. So now's the time that you can use your WD-40. More than likely, it's just dry, but it's best to go ahead and clean this out. And this will show you guys why you don't use WD-40 on stuff like this. Because trust me, guys, it will clean some grease out. You hear that? You hear how crunchy? All right, let's rinse it off with WD-40 again. Look at that. And look how much it cleaned that bearing off. And it cleaned all that old grease out. Now look, it will hardly spin, guys. Look at that. See what the WD-40 does? It does get in there and clean everything out, but it really is not a good lubricant when it comes to that. So hopefully this is proof as to why you don't do that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up with the parts cleaner, but you absolutely could use WD-40. Brake cleaner works really good as well. So you can use brake cleaner. Just make sure whenever you repack these things that you get it right. And we'll cover that in just a second. All right, so after a thorough clean, I want you guys to listen. Look at that. All right, so as you can see, this thing is working great now. And I did clean it out with some brake cleaner. She's good to go. Did you jump? Yeah, I figured. Okay, so I've tried a few different techniques, and this seemed to work pretty good with a brush. Just come in and kind of dab it in. That seemed to work pretty good, but now I'm going to try a syringe. And I know not everybody has one of these, but you know, there's other options. I'm just kind of giving you guys this as an option. So let's see if this will work. Yeah, so this will work here. So you basically can just, that's working really good. Go in between each bearing and give it a little squeeze. Like that. Now, you don't want to overload this bearing either, because basically the cap won't go back on it. So I feel pretty confident that we got some force down in there, and as it runs and gets a little heat in it, it'll spread out in here. So let's wipe the excess off. Let's see what we've got here. Guys, this looks pretty good. If the cap goes back on, I think this is going to be successful. Cap went back on pretty good. Don't see any issues there. Pretty nice. Look at that, guys. It actually pushed it out of the back, so that's really good. That means that the grease got all the way up in the bearing, so that's really good. I'm gonna stick this thing back on and see if it works. So I'll go ahead, put this one back on. I'll pull that one off and then fix it as well. We should be good then. Super simple. Plus, this gives you time to go in, clean your pulleys up, you know, do all that type stuff. All the pulleys have been serviced now. Every one of them have been taken apart, cleaned, and we have new grease in them. So I'm gonna go ahead, start this thing up, see what it sounds like. Also, I want you to remember, these trucks are just noisy. The supercharger, this open intake, all that type stuff. So what you're hearing on camera is like a lot of noise, but what we're listening for is that squeaking sound that we heard in the beginning of the video. So I'll let you go ahead, hear that right now. So now that you've heard that, you can compare it to what you're about to hear. That's right, guys. No squeaking. Let's turn this thing off. All right, so that worked out really good. I know this is gonna save you guys some money, because these pulleys are very expensive. If you try to buy the billet pulleys, they're like, I don't even remember, like $170 something, something like that. The reason why I do videos like this, guys, is to help you out so that you don't have to go spend all that money. Now, there is another option. You can replace the bearings in these, but you need to know what they are. You have to look it up, research it, all that. This is a fairly quick job, take you about 30 minutes to do, something like that. Maybe give yourself an hour, and you can repack these things. Now, if they get too far gone on you, no amount of grease is gonna help you. So make sure that they're not too far gone. Take them apart, look at them, and there you go. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead, wrap this video up, and as always, thanks for watching.